Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Slice of Sports, the maiden voyage. First time we're doing a 30-minute show talking local sports. And we know a little bit about local sports, Eric, don't we?
A little bit, yeah. I think, listen, this is, John and I don't even know what we're doing, really. I mean, listen, you watch us at night, right? We do a couple minutes of sports. This is a chance for us to, I gave you the jam band reference, John. We play the hits at 6, 10, and 11, like a little 2-minute song. This gives us a chance to jam a little bit. Play the 20-minute version.
Yeah.
The B-side, as you said, you know?
Yeah, the B-side a little bit. Sometimes there's great hits on the B-side. And you know, it's such a great opportunity because we are all over the state, covering everything from UConn basketball, high school sports, you know, so many athletes, so many great stories to be told. And sometimes they don't get the real story out there like the way we like to. So this is going to be an opportunity for us to kind of do this, have guests come in, which we will do in the coming weeks as well. But Eric, I just, Slice of Sports. How did this whole thing come about? Because we were throwing out a bunch of story ideas.
Yeah, our bosses have been asking us for months, hey, we want you guys to do this like podcast, digital show. We're like, yeah, absolutely. We're trying to figure it out through the holidays, time off, yada, yada, yada. We sit down. We talked about a coach's corner, but then we're like, you know what? That kind of, we don't want to be boxed in, with a coach. What if there's some great cheerleader or volunteer, whatever. So I said, we're in New Haven. You and I were talking. I said, we're on the corner of State and Elm. We're in the pizza capital of the world, pizza, sports, and you said it. Yeah,
Slice of Sports. Because one of the things we do when we cover sport, and you know this because we share a company car sometimes. So one night I'll have the car and I'll drive around. I'll want to have dinner. And where do I go all the time, Eric?
Pizza.
Car smells like pizza.
Folks, we're going to take you behind the curtain here for a little bit. First off, this is ridiculous. John will work on a Friday night. I'm off on Fridays. And I'll use the car on Saturdays because he's off. And he'll sometimes text me, hey, man, if you're using car 65 tomorrow, like I had Pepe's last night. I had Sally's last night. You walk in that car, it stinks of pizza. And it's torture because you want to eat some of the great New Haven pizza.
It's a good stink, too, right? Yeah. I do clean
Stink's the wrong word. I'm sorry.
I do clean the car up. And I don't discriminate because there's one week I went Pepe's, Sally's, Modern, back to back to back, and fortunately, it's not shown in the midsection, but I do love my pizza. So maybe one day we'll get pizza in here. We could feed everybody. We feed
sponsorship.
Tasty, we feed
Sounds
Juliana.
like a sponsorship.
We feed our guests. Yeah. So, but anyway, we really love what we do, and that's one of the things that, I hope it shows when we're on the air because we really do love the state. Having grown up in the state, both you and I, you talk a little bit about that, like the passion we have because it matters. Covering as many things as we can, in our state.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone knows this. John, you're a local guy. I'm a local guy. I grew up in Old Saybrook. I played football, basketball, baseball in Old Saybrook, coached teams when I got older. But the cool part for me is you go into these gyms all over the state. Like we played on these fields. We played in these gyms. And it's just great to now showcase the next generation of high school players, coaches, cheerleaders, I mentioned, the band. We enjoy all that stuff. I'm interested in your ride to Channel 8. Tell us real quick how that happened.
Well, it's funny because we both have, 27 years now?
Yeah.
Yeah, 27 years. I'll be 31 in June. So that doesn't count my 4 intern years. As an 18-year-old, I started here as an intern when I was at Southern Connecticut, did it for 4 years, then got a job here after working at ESPN for a year and a half, and I've been here since 95. So, I've been blessed in a lot of ways. Haven't had to move. A lot of people in the business have to move and crisscross, but I've been able to, raise a family and be here. And it's I've been lucky, and it's just show up and do your best every day, treat every day kind of the same. Yeah. And we have been lucky to cover great athletes, great teams, watch the building of the UConn basketball programs, men and women. I mean, the list really does go on and on of who we've covered, who's gone on to great things, who's gone on to some sad things. There's really, honestly, we could write a book probably.
No, and listen, I don't think the people understand just how important they are to us.
Yeah.
You go to Floyd Little Athletic Center. I go to Floyd Little for a basketball triple header. We go to Bennett Rink for a hockey game. We go up to Albertus. We go to UConn, People's Bank last night. How many people come up to us oh, you guys do a great job, blah, blah. But really, I tell people all the time, it beats working for a living.
Yeah, and that's what feeds us too. You get a compliment outside, you're doing a good job if you're getting the feedback, in person from a lot of people. But, I just, we got such a busy time of year right now. The Super Bowl with the Patriots in it. We're going to talk a little bit about that here. We got UConn basketball. And then we got the high school, season starting to wind down as the, winter season with championships around the corner. What's been your favorite thing to cover, do you think?
You and I did a baseball show for a while, a couple years inside New York baseball, covering the Yankees and Mets. That was a great run. I mean, we were going to New York every week.
That was fun.
Summer.
It was a lot of fun.
It was fun. It was hard, but it was fun. those playoff games with the Yankees, Astros were great. I mean, Aaron Judge literally came up to us all the time. Aaron Judge folks asked us for wedding advice, marriage advice. He got married. John and I went to the stadium, and John, we were just talking to him, and he said hey, congratulations on getting married. He's like, got any advice? And literally we gave him advice. I think mine was to let your wife win all the little things and you hold out for the big things. Yeah. And I remember him rubbing his jaw, and he was like, that's a good one. I'm going to.
Yeah. We got to do a follow-up on that.
Yes,
see how it's
100%.
going. Things are going well. They got a dog. They got a baby on the way or something too. So
one, yeah.
things are going well. My advice was ask Erik because he knows better than I do. So.
But listen, as hard as we work, we want to be everywhere.
Yeah.
But there really is only two of us.
It's hard.
And we try.
Yeah, we try, and we can't work every day, 16 hours a day, and a lot of times we do. But we do it because it is a passion, and like you said before, we're lucky to do it. And one of the great things, is covering the UConn National Championships. Watching what has happened in stores has been kind of one of the greatest things, I think, to happen to this state. The building of the UConn basketball programs to give the state an identity. Because we kind of didn't know what we are. Are we New York? Are we Boston? Where are we? But that gives us our own thing. That's our professional franchise, the UConn basketball programs.
And it's something that every town can get behind.
Yeah.
There's no Red Sox, Yankees. You're a UConn.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Nothing unites the state more than a UConn basketball championship run. So, and we might have those this year.
Hopefully, we're doing that again. And listen, that should segue us into our first segment here.
Yeah.
Both of us, listen, we're getting older, sitting on the floor on our butts at the UConn games. Folks, if you see us at these games, we're sitting crossing our legs, crisscross applesauce, as the kids say, shooting video of these games. I was at the UConn Xavier game last night, and I'm not going to lie to you. This is some of the video. It's hard to walk the next day after this, but John, you've been covering this team. I've been covering this team. last night they beat Xavier from the jump. It was 10-0 before you blinked. And folks, this is me sitting on my butt getting this video right here. It's Braylon Mullins. We don't have to do the highlights per se, but you get an idea. It's just we are there with 16,000 people. The families are there, and it's just. It is our thing. It's our event, man.
Yeah, front row seat. We got a great seat. You're right, though. Sitting there the whole time, and I don't want to sound like, oh, poor guys. I got to sit down on the floor in the front row. But it's great. We're having a good time covering this team, and we'll double back. We'll talk a little bit more about the UConn men and women coming back. We've got to take a little bit of a break here, but more to come on Slice of Sports. All right, we're back for that second slice.
Fancy
of
graphics.
Pizza. Yeah,
like
I
that?
know. I like it. It's nice. I'm gonna take a. Where's that piece? It's over here somewhere. Listen, we were talking UConn basketball before we went to break there, and let's talk a little bit about what happened. You were at the game against Xavier the other night, and second convincing win in a row for the Huskies. After kind of. How do you nitpick a team that had only lost once this year, but they weren't winning the way people have become accustomed to them winning? But in the last two games, they've looked like a team that could really make a run here in a big way.
22-1, 18 straight wins, dominant non-conference schedule performance. Lost the one game to the number one team in the country, and they're rolling through the Big East. 12-0. Great start. We talked to Coach Hurley after the game last night. Let's take a listen to what he had to say about how things are all coming together for the Huskies.
I just thought that the group showed, just a high level of class today by playing at such a high level at both ends on the backboard after such a quick turnaround and a long trip. Feel like the team is starting to, figure out, how to play, more bulletproof basketball.
Over the past couple of weeks, I think I've been able to just pick and choose my spots the right way. And I think it's helping us because now I feel like I'm a threat now on the three-point line, and now teams have to guard us a different way.
Erik, I remember at the beginning of the year, you end with Silas Demery there, who has become a real weapon for the Huskies. I remember at the beginning of the year, before anything started, he had a great quote that said, I said, how do you think you're going to fit in here and stand out? And he said, well, before I stand out, I've got to fit in. And he's fit in nicely, and he's standing out right now. And, they talk a lot about they need another Tristan Newton, and he's starting to fill into that mode there, with the bigs and everything they've got. Braylon Mullins, you mentioned the Arizona loss. They played that game without Terrace Reed and Braylon Mullins, and still had a chance to win it. So this is a team that we haven't we're starting to see their best basketball, I think, at the right time.
No, and after the game last night, they asked Silas and they asked Coach Hurley. The Bob Cousy Awards came out. The finalists, the top 10 point guards in the country came out, and he was not on the list. Dan, listen, you got a team that's 22-1, ranked third in the country, and the point guard on the team's not one of the top 10 in the country. So obviously he said some things. Silas said it didn't let it bother him. He's more of a team guy. Individual awards aren't a big deal to him. But we'll see how that motivates him. And if he plays the rest of the way like he played last night, John, this team is going to go a long way.
Just what Dan Hurley needs and the team needs, something to stoke the fire. I mean, they were already kind of annoyed because they were dropped in the rankings from 2 to 3, which only one spot, not a big deal, only matters at the end. But now it's one more thing to focus on. They don't think you're good enough. He'll ride this all the way to the end. And let's talk a little bit more about the team because, like you mentioned, the record at this point, 22-1. 12-0. They had some big wins. We'll take a look at some of the other video as well. Dan Hurley, this is great. This is at the Providence game, and
look at that
highlight. You call them the imposters, yeah. I mean, one Dan
look at
Hurley,
Lexi White.
Yeah, Lexi White was singing the national anthem. She's one of our coworkers here, but one Dan Hurley's enough. By the way, that's the only thing we can handle. But 22-1, 12-0 in the Big East. Erik, they've got a chance to go undefeated in the Big East. I know there's a couple games at St. John's still on the schedule. Seton Hall will be tough, but, I mean, they could run the table.
They have St. John's on Friday night in New York City at Madison Square Garden, 8 o'clock start. Man, I tell you what, I'd love to be at that game, but you can't go everywhere, as we mentioned.
Right.
It's a late start, so we wouldn't get anything on the news. So that's the method to our madness, folks. You go to an 8 o'clock game, doesn't end until 10. You're not going to get to Coach Hurley till 10:30, quarter of 11, and you're going to miss all the newscasts. So listen, watch it on the couch, enjoy it. We'll take notes. You'll have highlights of the game on Friday night. But yeah, going forward, John, you look at this schedule. They're 12-1, 12-0 in the Big East, and I mean, maybe they lose the St. John's game, but other than that, the schedule is very friendly.
It's possible. I mean, Seton Hall was a tough game for them too. We'll see how they respond. Shaheen Holloway's done a good job down there with that team too. So that could be another tough one on the schedule before they get into the Big East tournament and then into the NCAA tournament.
St. John's Friday, Butler on Wednesday. That's in Indianapolis. Then they play Georgetown on Saturday the 14th. That's a night game where Hashim Thabit's number will be. He'll be into the Huskies of Honor. So that's a Valentine's Day date night for you guys out there. And then Creighton, Villanova, St. John's again, Seton Hall again, and then we get to Marquette, Big East tournament. So again, the men and the women, John, could have outstanding seasons going forward.
Yeah. Could this be 2004, 2014 again, when it was dual national championships? This is as good a chance as any going on right now. We talked a little bit about Dan, but Gino Auriemma and Chris Daly and that staff, what they've done with that team too. The UConn women, they look unbeatable right now. They could have another undefeated season on their hand. Every test they've faced this year, they've passed. They have a couple tough ones, including their last time out or the weekend against Tennessee. They got another one on Wednesday night that they should roll through with DePaul. But this is a team. Do you see any weaknesses there?
No, and we'll take a look at the video of the UConn Tennessee, the game on Sunday that I went to. John, it was at Hartford Civic Center. It's video 4, Casey. Look at that full house. They had the lights going. This was the game. John, no one knows it better than you. I mean, UConn Tennessee was an unbelievable rivalry for 20 plus years. And then things kind of faded a little bit. Obviously, Pat Summitt passing away, and then they've had different coaches there now. But this game was tied at the half, 42-all. And then the Huskies just blew them out in the second half. Blew them out. Wasn't even close. They won by 30 points.
And that's so crazy, right? You got a game tied at the half, and then to win by 30, the biggest win in this rivalry. Which I was fortunate enough to cover this team through the great parts of this rivalry: the Pat Summitt, the Gino Auriemma, the back and forth, the Evil Empire, the Taurasi, Shamika Holtzclaw, all of them. But for them to do that, and Tennessee's pretty good. They're not what they used to be.
15th ranked in the country before the game.
But they're not what they used to be. But they're right there and they're a contender. So, but UConn needs tests like that. Too often you go to a game and it's over by the end of the first quarter. And then everyone's just kind of sitting and rooting for the team to just run it up, and they usually do. But they need these kind of tests too, because there's some good teams out there, and the Texases and UCLA, who they beat last year, and on the way to the national championship. UCLA is the team that I think is probably one of their biggest threats this year. They had a tough one this year against Michigan as well, which kind of
big lead, and then Michigan came back.
Yeah, and they show that they can rally back and win it. So when Sarah Strong is the national player of the year, I mean she is the next great one. With the Maya Moores and Diana Taurasi's and Stewie and who else am I missing? Paige Beckers.
Yeah,
I mean,
you mentioned Maya,
all of them. But so she could be National Player of the Year 3 years in a row. She's going to lead them, I think, to another. There's really no weakness, looks like, in her game. And AZ Fudd, when she's back on, like she has been battling an illness, they are. I don't see anyone beating them.
Yeah, 27 points she had. And it's funny, you mentioned it. Let's listen to what Gino had to say after the Tennessee game, because he said specifically what you mentioned. They need games like this. They're going to roll through the Big East and not be tested. They need to play games like this as they get ready for March.
You don't go into these games thinking, yeah, this is going to be, one of those 30-point games. You certainly don't do that. Had it been a 30-point lead at halftime, I would have been really, really disappointed, because you play these games to be really tested, to find out a little bit about what your team is made of. It's good that you have to kind of regroup and find yourself and come out. So I think in that respect, it served its purpose for why you play these games.
I think any chance we get to play a really talented team like this, we come out, it's exciting. There's a lot of anticipation, a lot of energy around it. But I'd say it's not the same as it used to be, but definitely we come out with extra energy and intensity.
And again, John, 27 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists.
Yeah.
She'd been battling an illness, a horrific shooting slump. She's back, and if she's going to play like that.
Yeah. I mean, you saw at the end of last year, that was the difference in them running through the national championship. When AZ Fudd is on her game and playing at the level, healthy, happy, playing free. That was the one thing last year. Yeah. She just seemed like so much to exhale, and everything came together, and it looks like she's going to be right back there in that same space. So as they play for a 13th national championship, look to go back to back, and another undefeated season. Like, it's amazing what Gino Auriemma and Chris Daly have built up there with that program. But we got more to talk about.
Yeah,
we're going to talk a little
time for
Super
another
Bowl.
break.
Yeah, we're going to talk a local legend kind of passes. We're going to hear from some of his star pupils when we come back. That was Brian Clark of Ring 1 Boxing. We'll see you back here in just a couple minutes. And welcome back to Slice of Sports. John Pierson here with Erik Dobratz. So far, so good, I think. I kind of like this first show, right?
No scripts, folks. A couple of notes we wrote down. That's about it. That's nothing.
Look at that. Chicken scratch, right?
So listen, we got in this last segment, there's a couple things we got to talk about. We're going to talk about the Patriots at the end. But first of all, when I first started in sports here, I think it was 2002, I was a producer. You guys would send me out to different things, kind of break me in softly. But one of the places I remember going in the very beginning in the fall was Ring 1 Boxing.
Yeah.
And I remember going there with a photographer. I think it was Kevin Frederick, our buddy Kevin, who used to work in sports, was, where the heck am I? And Ring 1 is just small, gritty.
Modest, like you would, yeah.
Yeah, on the corner of Congress and I forget West over there in New Haven. And it was one of those things where I was like a fish out of water, but then once you met Brian, it was all good.
Yeah, Brian Clark, the owner, the trainer, the do everything of Ring 1 Boxing, who just kind of decided decades ago and jumped into the community in the Hill and changed so many lives, probably saved a lot of lives along the way, recently passed away. And a couple of his prized pupils, he had so many guys come through there and ended up being champions. Chad Dawson, a 3-time world champ. Tremaine Williams, who is still fighting and closing in on getting back to maybe another title shot, are his 2 pupils. And with the loss of Brian, it leaves a big hole in the community, because what's going to happen to the gym we'll be able to maintain without him, the figure there. But we talked to Chad and we talked to Tremaine, caught up with them about the loss of Brian and really what Brian meant to the both of them.
We go back to amateur trips, traveling Kansas City, Florida, those long 24-hour trips to Florida. We had so much fun. With Brian, it wasn't all about boxing. He knew at the same time, boxing is a serious sport, but at the same time, you had to have fun too. And he always made sure we had all of our boxing gear, whatever we needed. So I mean, that's why I say he was a father figure to so many people. It's definitely a big loss to the Hill section of New Haven. To anybody that ever came across him, it's gonna be a hard loss. That's the thing about Brian. People don't know about Brian. They don't know his heart. They don't know his mentality, what he stands for. You got a white guy, who moved into a predominantly black neighborhood and who took on the challenge of getting kids in the gym, training them, teaching them, not just about boxing but about life too. He was like a second father to me. You know, whenever I needed him, he showed he was there. You know, if I needed a new boxing trunks, new boxing shoes, whatever, he was there. He got it. You know, he took care of us.
He was about tough love too, because you guys always didn't see eye to eye, right? But you know, did you start to see his vision a little later in life as you kind of grew up a little bit too?
Yeah, I always saw his vision. But you know, being young and hard headed, you don't see it until you know you're about to lose it. You know, and I came to the point where I was about to lose it. And he was the one that willed me back in. Every time I left the gym, he was always the one that willed me back in. It was fun, man. It was good times with Brian, man. I loved him. You know, everybody who came across him loved him.
What's the one thing from Brian that's always going to stick to your head?
The one thing will be those times, I call it drop the mic moments, where like he'd drop me off, he'd give me like this thing where he'd talk to me and like motivate me about something, and then he'd drop the mic, and once I'm about to leave, he said, "Hey Midge, I'd rather you be a good person than a great fighter any day." And I just walk out and I'm like, damn, I have you thinking like, damn.
Yeah.
So I focus on being a good person rather than a great fighter.
Where would you be without Brian?
I don't really know. I really don't, because I say 75% of the things that I know as a man and that I move as a man, it came from him. So I don't know.
I mean, you were living there. I mean, he really was like a dad to you, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was like a dad. And then after I got incarcerated and I came home, I actually lived with him. So it was like my dad almost. And I met him so young, and I didn't have one in my life, so it was like a father figure, believe it or not. He didn't have a son, and I didn't have a father, so it was like a perfect world.
Do you remember the first time going in the gym and meeting him? What do you remember?
I remember it was a Tuesday, and back then he started guys on a Tuesday. The coincidence is my cousin brought me to the gym, and I don't like boxing because I'm non-confrontational. So he brought me on a Tuesday when he started new fighters. It was August of 2002. I was actually 8. I lied and said I was 9 because you had to be 9. And then he actually started hitting pads with me, and I remember him saying he said 1-2, and I did a 1-2, and then he looked around. He said, "Hey, this kid could be good," and the rest is history.
Is that all you needed? Just that little bit of belief from somebody?
Yeah, that little belief that would just spark that interest of like, yo, I could do something. And then him actually feeding me the knowledge and feeding me these things of telling me I could be great and speaking life into me. That's what every kid needs.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's going to be missed in the community. I mean, you can't replace that. But you know, Tremaine first met him at 9 years old. First met Chad at 13 years old, and I think Tremaine's 33 now, and Chad's like mid-40s. So, and they still have that same love and passion. Everyone's going to miss Brian Clark in the community.
And the one thing I'll add to that, when we learned that he passed, I drove over. You saw some of that snow video outside the rink. Yeah. So we just had a big snowstorm. It was the Monday after the snowstorm. We learned he passed away. So I went over to the ring because I just wanted to see if anything was going on. You know, so I set up my camera and I shot some video, just the exteriors. And when I pushed record, shooting the video, you saw there, and then I stopped. A gentleman across the street, a local guy, yells over to me and goes, "Hey, thank you. I appreciate you." And I'm like, "Hey, you lost a great man." He's like, "We did. The community will never get over it." And that's all I got to say.
And as we mentioned at the top of the show, that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
These are the stories to be told. And, you know, so many great stories. And you know, we've got another great story coming up, too, this weekend with, Super Bowl 60, Patriots back in it. Seahawks again, a rematch of Super Bowl 49, a thrilling win for the Patriots. You looking forward to it? What do you think is going to happen?
Here's the thing. Well, first of all, we have a show we got to promote. 4:30 on WTNH News 8. 4:30, there's a Patriots Seahawks preview show that we're putting together. We're almost done with that. So watch that 4:30 on News 8. I'm not a Patriot fan. I'm a Jet fan, so I've got bigger problems. That could be a whole other show we can talk about. I don't have a dog in the fight, per se. I'm hoping for a good game. But the one problem I have with the game, John, no star power.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand that.
There's no star.
Well, now, Sam Darnold, former Jet, will you root for him to do well?
I will. It's weird. he got a raw deal with the Jets. I didn't think they had a great coaching staff at the time when he was there. I think they didn't do well by him. So I will root for Sam, and as a Jet fan, I can't root for the Patriots. Sorry.
Okay, you're allowed. I mean,
Yeah.
as a Jets fan, you probably can't root for anybody because it's been a rough go. It's been a rough go. But this Patriots team has been a lot of fun. You go 4-13 back-to-back years, and Mike Vrabel comes in, and here they are back in the Super Bowl. A lot of people are probably annoyed because of that run they had with Belichick and Brady and all that. But I think Drake May eventually could be that superstar like a Tom Brady too. So
Prediction? Before we
you
wrap
know,
here?
everyone's going with the Seahawks. I'm going to go against the grain. I think the Patriots are going to win another close game by like a field goal.
27-17 Seattle.
Okay, you're probably right, but that's okay. Hey, just like that, we're done with our first episode of Slice of Sports. We'll be back though next week. We've got some guests coming in next week. Do you want to fill people in real quick teaser?
He's a high school basketball star. How about that?
Yeah,
and his coach.
And he loves to dunk, and he's going to play some big time ball. So we'll have more next week on Slice of Sports. We appreciate you joining us this week. For Erik Dobratz, I'm John Pierson. We'll see you back here next week.